Thank you for the great introduction. I didn't really understand any of it, but I'm sure it was amazing. So I'm going to introduce myself again in English, just to make sure nothing was left out. My name is Stephanie Vanroelen. I currently work for Enviso. It's an IT security company in Belgium. We do anything and all things security as a consultancy. So I'm pretty sure I heard it before, but I'm also part of the organizing committee for BruCon. That's a conference in Belgium where we do IT security as well. And I also am the co-founder of Cyber School, which inspired cyber kids here previously. Oh, yeah, thanks. All right, so my talk is about antivirus apps on Android mobile systems. Just going to quickly explain what I'm going to talk about. So what I did is I researched a couple of antivirus apps on Android mobile just to look and see if are these apps really doing what I think they're doing? Are they really delivering on their promise? Are they keeping my phone secure? Are they providing any added value? This is really loud, by the way. I'll quickly explain how I did this, explain my research steps, and then I'll end with a conclusion. So let's go. All right, so how did I get the idea for this talk? Last year I gave a talk at InfoSecurity Belgium, and it was on the dangers of a rooted phone and bring your own devices in a company. So why is it dangerous to have a rooted phone that has access to company data? And how can you defend against it and such? The outcome was you should probably install a mobile device management system. But at the end of the talk, I had this person come up to me and she was like, I've been looking into antivirus apps on mobile. Which one would you recommend? And I just kind of looked at her and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I could give you the top 5 providers that probably give you an app, but I can't really tell you if they're any good, if they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing, if they're doing hidden stuff. So then I got thinking, why don't I know this? I mean, I'm an IT security specialist. I should be able to answer such a simple question. So then I decided to research this a little bit to be able to provide a good answer, a well-grounded answer, an answer that's based on data and not just stuff I read on the internet. So what I did was I did a little bit of market research and I came up with the top 5 apps on Android that do antivirus. So we have Kaspersky that does it. We have Avast, Norton. Then we have something that Android itself provides. It's a mobile security. It's called CleanMaster. And finally, we have Sophos. Those are the top 5 apps on the market at the time of my research. And then I was thinking, I should probably think of a couple of questions I want answered to be able to say, yes, this is good antivirus software. So it needs to, detect if there's malware on your phone. Then it needs to quarantine or remove this malware from your phone. It shouldn't do anything hidden. So the app should do as it says and not, gather a whole bunch of data and send it secretly back to their main offices. And finally, does the app provide any added value? So I started my research. And for this, I had to set up my research environment. So what I did is I had a laptop, I set up a Kali VM. In this case, it was the Kali 2018 64-bit version. I had a rooted Nexus 5 with Android 6.0.1 on it. It's a clean install, it's a clean phone, so I reinstalled it, there was no data on it, and then I rooted it. I also use the Pineapple Nano, Wireshark, and Burp Suite to intercept traffic. So there's a couple of assumptions you should probably have in mind once I'm going through my steps. So once you definitely need a rooted phone if you're doing this kind of research. If you have a rooted phone, you can just have access to all the data and all the file paths and the file system beneath it, which gives you a better access and a better view of what's happening. The second thing, and probably really important if you don't know this already, use non-isolated network. So if you're communicating over Wi-Fi between your laptop and your mobile device, it has to be on a non-isolated network because otherwise the devices cannot talk to each other. I remember a couple of years ago, I didn't really know this, and it took me forever to figure this out. So I'm just giving it to you right now. Don't lose time on this. And finally, have your Burp Suite certificate installed on your phone, because otherwise it's not going to work. All right, so what steps did I take? First, I installed all the apps on the phone. After quick research, I realized that, installing all the apps at the same time, they don't interact with each other, so it was fine. Then second, use the app like a normal user. Just install it, open it up, have the settings go in, have the app scan the phone to see if there's any malware on it, etc. Then the next step is, pull all the files from the phone and pull the official app, because the first step is installing all the apps from the Google Play Store. So you have the official apps. Then the next step is, taking a look at the logs. For me, I always start by looking at the logs because it's a good way to get, hints and tips on where to look and, where to go and what classes to look for. Then I will, do network traffic analysis. This is both web traffic and, general internet traffic using Wireshark. Then just take a look at the app itself, decompile it, unzip it, take a look at it. And then once you've done all that, then we install malware on the phone, see if the app detects it, right? Are these apps actually doing what they're saying they're doing? Then repeat steps 2 through 5. And finally, compare data and make a conclusion. So, step 1 is installing all the apps. So right away, I ran into a little bit of a hiccup. I started installing the apps, and the Sophos app, asked me for super user rights right away. So that just, had that red flag raised for me, and I was like, wait, I'm supposed to be looking for an app that I recommend, and this one's already asking for super admin rights? Forget it. So I just dropped that because I had a lot of time constraints. So I dropped the app, and I didn't even look at it further. Step 2 is using it like a normal user. So I installed all the apps, use it like a normal user, scanned. Nothing really special came out of it. Some of the apps told me my phone was rooted, other apps didn't, which is interesting for antivirus software, that some of the apps don't report that your phone is rooted. All right, so step 3 is pulling all the data from your phone, right? It's clean data, there's no malware installed, it's a clean phone, so just regular usage. So I pull the app from the phone, but I'll also pull all the data files, all the databases, anything related to the app, I'll pull it onto my computer to check it out. The first thing that really hit me was these apps are really big. I mean, a regular Android app is usually around 15 megs. These are way bigger, If you look at Kaspersky, it's the biggest one out there. It's more than 45 MBs, so really big. Begs the question, why are these apps so big? They're just scanning your phone, right? Or they're supposed to. So that got me really thinking, what's going on here? Then step 4 is taking a look at the logs. There's a whole bunch of logs when you start running your app on an Android phone, and I mean, it keeps going, it doesn't stop. And you just going through all the logs, it's tedious work, but it gives you interesting stuff. I took a little screenshot from a little part, and beneath it, if I don't know if you can see it, but it says, hey, store something in this directory. So then you go and look at the directory. And this case, it was just, a cached image, so it's nothing really juicy. But it gives you an indication of how I went about it, just looking at different class names to look at different storage places, what are the apps doing? Step 5, network analysis. Great. So I was thinking, all right, so these mobile app builders, they're doing a really good job. They're pretty advanced. So I installed Pineapple Nano to capture all the traffic I was doing with my phone. And then I took a look at it with Wireshark, which gives you, a whole bunch of domains to look at. If you really want, you can go in and dive in further and look at the domains. Are they secure? Are they safe? Whatever. But a couple of weird things came up. For example, one of the apps asked for my current IP address, which begs the question, why does the antivirus really need my IP address? Like, if you really think about it, does it matter if I'm at this IP or that IP? Are they going to do something different with it? Maybe, I can imagine they can use it for actors or lists that they have to see if, if I'm an evil device or something. I don't know. That I thought was I wasn't really sure about that. Another one is asking my Wi-Fi data. So they're asking, hey, what Wi-Fi is being used? What's the name? What kind of encryption? Stuff like that. Why does an antivirus app need to know that? Why is it being sent over? Why are they collecting this data? I don't know. But to be honest, Wireshark didn't really pan out. I was hoping, to see a lot more. A lot of the data that was being sent that looked interesting was encrypted. So I didn't get to see what they sent. Step 6 is gathering all the data files, looking at the app. So I did. I looked at, all the apps. I decompiled all the apps. I started to look at all the interesting classes, except for, in this case, every single interesting class that I could find was obfuscated. So, from a research perspective, this kind of really sucks. For a developer's perspective, this is great. These companies are using the right techniques, and they're really, paying attention to making their code secure, which is great. But from a research standpoint, this kind of blows. Another interesting part here is if you decompile the apps, you get a look at all the permissions that these apps are requesting, and they're not, you don't see them because they don't come up when you install them, but there's like a whole bunch of permissions. I think one of them had like 96 permissions. That's a lot. I mean, if you look at a regular app, they'll have like 10, 15 permissions maybe. These had 96, and they're asking for anything and everything. This is also kind of weird, right? I mean, why do they need all these permissions? So I took a couple of permissions to look at and to talk about because, 96 is a lot, and we would be here until tomorrow. So the first thing is they ask for get tasks. What I did is I looked up on the Android developer side exactly what these permissions are allowed to do. So on the get tasks, you have, they're asking the application that, hey, give me all the running tasks. And give me any and all information on these running tasks. This is pretty normal for an antivirus, I think. It's an iffy permission, but I think for an antivirus, okay, I can understand this. The next one is a little bit funkier. They're asking me permission to call. Why? Are they going to call up my mom and say, hey, your daughter has a virus on her friggin' phone? No, it's not going to happen, right? So why do they need permission to make a call? Still don't know. Research the app, still don't know. Then request install packages. This is a really interesting permission. A lot of malwares use this permission. What this permission does is it allows you, or allows the app, to install extra packages on the phone and run them. Why? Why isn't it included in the original big-ass install that we're already pulling from Google? Why do they need this permission? Another one with write settings. They're going to change the settings on my phone. They have this permission. They're requesting it. What are they going to do on my phone? What kind of permissions are they changing? Also, did not find out this reason, but it's in there. Another interesting one is authenticate accounts. What this does is it allows you to create new accounts, but also to change the passwords of existing accounts. Are you getting scared yet? Antivirus apps changing passwords of accounts on your phone? What? I don't want this. I don't want this on the phone. And then, the last one I have on here is mount format file systems. So what this does, this permission allows you to completely format the SD card on your phone. Not read it, not write to it, just completely format the shit out of it. So this antivirus app on your phone can go, you don't have anything important on your phone, I'm just gonna format the shit out of it. Bye, no more data. I don't know why they would need this. It just seems excessive. All right, so now we get to the interesting part. Let's install some malware. So what I did is I decided to be a little bit thorough and install 2 different malwares. So the first one is bnews. It's a well-known malware. It creates a backdoor, and it uses a local privilege escalation exploit. Nothing special. All the apps noticed this, immediately reported it, quarantined it. The next one, Red Drop, I kind of used for nostalgic reasons. So in my previous talk, the one about bring your own devices, I created my own little malware just to show the dangers of a rebooted phone and what type of data I would have access to. And a week before I gave this talk, the report on this malware came out. It pretty much does exactly the same thing I was going to do, but then 10 times better. And it's out in the wild, right? So I thought it was really interesting. So I scoured the internet for an awesome little Red Drop malware version. I swear I didn't install it here. Interesting about this malware is, although it's already reported and relatively well known, and it had been in the wild back then, I think, more than 6 months, not all of the apps reported this. So that was interesting to see. Antivirus, not so much. So then we repeated, all the steps. We used the app, we gathered the data, we had them scan it, we pulled some data, then we started to compare the data that we got. And to be honest, I was a little disappointed. If somebody asked me this question, I still cannot answer it. So I did all this research and to put a lot of time into figuring out which antivirus app I would recommend. And the answer is none, because I still don't know. And all these permissions and anything that would be interesting is encrypted or send encrypted. But yeah, I have no conclusion for you. Which is, from a research standpoint, really annoying. It was an interesting exercise for me to do. I definitely want to, jump in more and try and break encryption and stuff like that. But I didn't have the time to do it yet. But I think the first thing I would do is take a look at all these permissions and what are they doing with it? Because breaking encryption is not my strong suit, so if anybody wants to, go right ahead. But yeah, I didn't have enough info, so there we go. Is there any questions?
Yep, I'm ready.
Hello. I would like to ask you a question about the way how you pass through all your network traffic to interception proxy. For Barb, in your case.
Well, weirdly enough, there was no SSL pinning on the apps. So just installing the burp certificate on the phone and then just intercepting on the same network with Burp Suite, you could gather pretty much all the HTTP, HTTPS traffic. Some of the traffic was encrypted, which was the problem. So the next step would be playing around with installing the certificate in the app, repackaging it, making sure you can gather data like that. And the other step I did was setting up a Pineapple Wi-Fi Nano, just capturing all data and then running it through Wireshark.
So this was not interception. So this is not a transparent proxying technique. You are using only device UE. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Є, бачу питання. Настя, we need a translation, please.
We need a translation. Oh, okay, sure.
Скажите, пожалуйста, я правильно понимаю, что вы в таком случае не доверяете антивирусам? На своих компьютерах, там, мобильных или стационарных, не применяете антивирус? И как это соотносится с требованиями стандартов по безопасности?
Okay, so do I understand correctly that you don't trust antivirus software, you don't use antivirus software on your mobile phones and on your desktops? And what do you think about it, like not trusting, not using antivirus in terms of cybersecurity typical standards and, you know, best practices?
Okay. So no, I don't use antivirus on my mobile. Yes, I use it on my laptop and my desktop. I did not look into antivirus solutions on the computer because the process is a little bit different. But the way they do it on mobile or on desktop is what got me thinking, is it really doing what they're saying they're doing on mobile? Because on your desktop, they're actually pre-installing before the OS is booted, usually, to be able to do what they're doing. If you do that on a mobile, you're breaking the sandbox system. They're not breaking the sandbox system, so they're doing it in a different way. Do I trust antivirus solutions in general? I feel I don't really have a choice in the current climate, trusting them. To be honest, no, I don't trust them, because there's a lot of things that's being sent that you don't have a view on, and they're not being very transparent about this. So no, I would not install it on my phone, because I don't think it's necessary. I do install it on my laptop devices and on my computer, but that's because you really don't have a choice. There's too much there in the wild that could just, it's a more of an added value to have it than to not have it. And I'm not sure the added value is there on mobile. I hope that answers your question.
Yep. And we have one more question.
Yep. It's going to be for me. I already have a microphone.
Yeah, okay.
So my question would be regarding the publishing of this research and its details. So it'd be interesting to hear what the AV providers would have to say about the permissions that they request, about the traffic that can be seen on the network. Thanks for the research and for the talk. It's just that I would have expected to see, like the specific breakdown of like what permissions were requested by which of the antivirus, to know which ones are like maybe more trustworthy and less trustworthy, like definitely malware on their own. Are you planning on publishing it?
I actually haven't thought about it, to be honest. I came up with the talk topic, and I had a very short time frame to work it out. So I haven't written out everything. I have all the data, of course, but I haven't written it out. But it's an interesting suggestion. So I might, yeah. Especially if I can finally dive in deeper, repackage the apps. But then I would, I would have to contact the providers themselves as well. So.
Okay, thanks.
And one more question.
I have a question regarding the permission that you mentioned about the antivirus asking. Does the antivirus programs that you tested have additional features like find your phone and others that can use your permission for GPS to find your phone on the map, Google Maps, and other about the permission for Wi-Fi network? Is it public Wi-Fi network or your home Wi-Fi network? Does it have enough security key, and so on and so on? So as I know, mostly mobile antivirus have a lot of additional features that use some of that permissions that not use it for pure antivirus. So my question is, does the antivirus that you tested have those additional features?
Some of them do. If you activate them, they're pay by this. If you pay for it, then they have added functionality. And I understand what you're saying, but not all of the permissions explain that. So not every single permission can be explained by the extra functionality that the app would offer. And that begs the question, why is it there? So yeah.
Hi, thank you for your talk. My question is on the first steps. You were analyzing the traffic, and you were alerted by the fact that antivirus system is trying to analyze a network connection. What potential problems you see in this fact? I don't really understand.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
My question is, what problems do you see in antivirus programs in the fact that they're trying to analyze your network connection?
I'm not sure I understand your question, sorry.
Может, не помогут привести. Какие проблемы вы видите в факте того, что антивирусные программы пытаются анализировать трафик, исходящий из вашего телефона?
So what problem do you think, like do you see that antivirus software is actually intercepting and analyzing all outgoing traffic from your phone? How do you think, what do you think about that?
I don't think they're actually doing that. He is a...
Not the traffic, but the connection itself? Okay, so let's put it this way. Do mobile antiviruses analyze outgoing connections from your phone?
I'm not sure, to be honest, if they look at all outgoing connections. To be honest, I don't think they're doing that. Because looking at what they're capturing, I don't really have a view of what they're capturing. I only have a view of what they would be sending back, and that's encrypted. So it's very hard for me to say yes or no. I don't have a view on that.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I was just trying to maybe explain the question that the way I understood it, you said that those antivirus would collect information about the local Wi-Fi network and then would send it to the servers for whatever reasons. So I think the question the person asks is, what dangers do you see in someone obtaining that almost public information that is already broadcast by Wi-Fi beacons?
Well, part of that information that was being sent was encrypted. So the question, what I think is happening is that they're sending not only the name of the Wi-Fi, but also your password. Because if they have root permissions and they're actually bypassing everything, they can get this information. It's on your phone and it's in clear text. So why why are they sending part of this packet encrypted and what are they sending? I'm not sure they're doing this, but they could be doing it. And it's all sent at once. So that's why I thought it was dangerous. Or
So they are antivirus spyware.
I wouldn't go as far as to say they're spyware, but I believe that they could be more transparent in the type of data they're gathering. Yeah. I think there was a question there somewhere.
Do you have a question?
think we will continue discussing.
Yeah, I think we should wrap up the question round. Thank you. It was a really